Good afternoon and welcome to a beautiful, sunny, watch the road, Leo Smith afternoon here in the Mara. My name is Brent Leo Smith. I have Adrian on camera, and Adrian is hoping to see his second, or film his second takedown in 2 days. So yesterday's warthog piglet takedown was Adrian's first cheetah takedown, first live kill for that matter. Now going to the Fat Five or the Fast Five that are not off. I think they're probably a good bet for tomorrow morning. And we found Miale just after the end of drive this morning, so we know where she is. She's actually just up ahead there, snoozing under a tree, and we are making our way towards there. We also heard that there are some leopards in this lugger, but we're going to look for the leopards a little bit later, and we're going to go double check in on Miale for now. But we also have some other interesting news, and that is that we have a presenter interviewee in the Mara today, so you'll be meeting him shortly, so you must be very nice. And without further ado, let David introduce himself to you, and he's of course got one of the most iconic animals in Africa to do it with.
Jumbo, hello everyone. Another very big welcome to Safari Live Experience. My name is Gigi David. My friends have always liked to call me Gigi. I'm happy when I keep Gigi. We're out on a game drive, and just about 2 or 3 clicks from the camp, we got a flying start of a mother rhino and a calf, just barely a kilometer from where we are. My cameraman, I think, can get them. And what a start, a flying start, beautiful day. Little windy, but we'll give you a few seconds just to enjoy that, and we'll be in touch. Thank you for being my audience. I'm very happy to be here with you, this being my very first time on Safari Life and doing this kind of presentation. Quite lucky to see the rhinos out, especially knowing we got 2 species of rhinos in Africa. We got the black rhino and the white rhino, and I'm saying we're very lucky to see the black rhino out in the open like this. It's very rare because they belong to the community of the browsers, and just to seeing it out there grazing doesn't mean it's eating grass. It's picking up on little plants here and there to complement their diet out there in the bush. I would say this is very, very good. And unlike the white rhinos, who are ideally, the mothers will keep the babies or the calves in front, the black rhinos will always keep the calves at the back, just making sure the world ahead of them is safe for their babies. A pretty good question. Apparently, the main difference, not by color, as many people will think, is mainly 2 reasons. Number 1, their feeding habits, and 2, the shapes of the mouth. The black rhinos ideally are browsers and will be seen in thickets, in forests, and they're a little shy, unlike the white rhinos. And when you look them closely and you look at the shapes of the mouth, the white rhinos, which are not as shy, have like square shaped mouth, and the black rhinos have like a triangular shaped mouth. That's many reasons. The difference is coming from a little mispronunciation of the word white, W-I-T, from the Dutch, and then I think the British or the English speakers corrupted that to white, but which means wide mouth for the white rhinos. Good question there.
Very nice, David.
Excellent. Good luck on the cheetahs, and he should know what we are having here. We're having a ball. Black rhino is pretty close, which is a rare sighting, and good luck on him. And if you need to come and join us, you can come and join with us.
Well, thank you, David. I'm not going to the cheetah just yet. I'm seeing what else is about while it's still hot. And I've spotted a little jackal lying amongst the flay ink flowers. Hello, little one. And you can see it's quite hot. The jackal is panting away, lying on one of the old roads because the soil's probably quite cool from all the rain we've been having. Oh, he's got a little cough. Isn't that pretty? Thompson's gazelle, flay ink flowers, and a black-backed jackal. Now, I've only seen one side-striped jackal since I've been in the Mara, and that was well down near the Tanzanian border, quite close to Sila's camp. Judy says, I find a jackal so cute. Me too, Judy, but more than cute, I actually find them fascinating. They have developed such a specialized little niche. All the jackal species, for that matter. The black-backed jackal and the golden jackal, so there's another species of jackal we get in Africa. Now, actually, in the Serengeti, there are golden jackal, which are different to the black-backed jackal. And the golden jackal are slightly bigger than the black-backed jackal, but they have the same sort of niche as the black-backed jackal, which is in these ecosystems snipping in and out of larger carnivores. Oh, that was a fat jackal. He had a good meal. Snipping in and out of larger carnivores' carcasses. They are incredible opportunists. I'm just going to go back again for that jackal. You'll probably find that little patch it was lying on got a bit too hot, so it's moved to another cool patch now. So they are incredibly adaptable, and black-backed jackals, depending on where they are able to change their diet accordingly. So the black-backed jackals that live in the Kalahari Desert of southern Africa will even eat they do eat quite a lot of fruit, particularly sama melons and wild cucumbers, and that's how they get their water out in those dry areas. Of course, the jackal in the Mara, they don't need to worry about water. There's plenty about. But the side-striped jackal is actually more of an omnivore than the black-backed jackal, which is more of a carnivore. And they obviously do eat meat as well, but in certain areas they will eat a lot more fruit. Now, an interesting story, many years ago when I was working in Zambia, and there was a bush pig that was causing massive problems in the communities outside of the reserve where I was, and the communities wanted us to shoot it, and we at the person I was working for owned a few islands in Lake Kruger, and he said, well, let's not shoot it, let's catch it and put it on the island where there were no bush pigs. And so we thought, oh, that's a great idea. And I thought, well, how do I catch a bush pig? How do I catch a bush pig? Watermelons, of course, because that's what they were causing havoc with. And I set up a trap for the bush pigs in the area they kept escaping and going into the people's watermelon and maize plantations. And when I went the next morning, I found not one but two side-striped jackal that had been eating the watermelon. And funnily enough, when I was actually trying to catch jackal with meat inside the trap, I ended up catching a bush pig. So bush pig can be omnivorous. You do get bush pigs in the forested areas of the Mara as well. I have seen them twice on our all-night excursions around the Sand River, but They're not in these parts of the Mara, but along the river, the escarpment, the Sand River, and into the mountains, there are bush pigs. So, there we go. Now, Stan is wondering, is rabies ever a problem with Jackal? Indeed, it is. They are one of the... They can become very, very bad carriers like domestic dogs, and they normally get rabies from domestic dogs. And when you do find a rabid jackal, unfortunately, you have to destroy it immediately. I've actually seen a rabid jackal chase an elephant. And what I find amazing is a lot of wild animals pick up on another animal if it's got rabies. I've even seen a rabid steenbok, which probably got rabies from the rabid jackal, a rabid steenbok chase elephant, and the elephant just took one look at this thing, a massive 6-ton elephant bull, and he just ran, and the steenbok was off after him. Now, there's lots of different symptoms of rabies, but the first symptom of rabies is sort of disorientation, and now that's very, very noticeable in domestic dogs. So the further from human habitation you find a domestic dog into reserve, so sort of for every kilometer you go from the boundary of reserve, the more likely that animal is to have rabies. So I find that quite interesting. And then of course the horrible symptoms that come next, they start foaming at the mouth. They also become hydrophobic. They become scared of water. And one of the funny things when it comes to rabies between domestic animals and wild animals is it's not always exactly like this, but it's a general rule, is wild animals become tame. So all of a sudden this jackal would be running up to our car, getting very tame even to people on foot. So wild animals become tame, and tame animals become wild. So a domestic dog with rabies becomes cowardly and tries to run away and hide when it would normally be comfortable. A lot of water around, it seems to affect the rabies virus. So rabies seems more common in drier parts of Africa than it is in the wetter parts of Africa. Here we go, little jackal. This one definitely doesn't have rabies though. Well, Aaron, I think I'm understanding your question correctly. Is what canine species out of Africa is most closely related? Do you mean closely related to the African canines? Or, well, I'll do a general one. So the golden jackal... Oh, to the jackal. Golden jackals occur into the Arabian Peninsula and all the way through to India. So there are jackals that occur in India, and those would be the closest relative to the jackals in Africa. Philip is wondering, when jackals hunt, are they ambush predators? Not necessarily. Well, normally jackals would hunt small rodents and birds. They can be ambush predators, and I say animal behavior is often very area specific rather than species specific. So, for example, the black-backed jackal, again in the Kalahari Desert, have learnt to be ambush predators. When the sandgrass flock in their thousands to come drink, the jackal will actually try to catch them out of the air. Whereas here, they will probably hunt small rodents and stuff like that in the longer grass, and that wouldn't be so much from ambush, but they would actually chase them down their rodent runs in the long grass and actually listen and try to catch them. Okay, well, let's keep maneuvering on. Leave the little jackal to lounge about. Well, it sounds like I'm not the only person who's moving along. Let's go see whereabouts David is moving towards.
Thank you, Joy, for an interesting question. Every day you go to the bush, a lot of stuff happens, and I'll tell you what, in the bush is always survival for the fittest. And one of my most interesting experience that I got, I had two small little Thomson gazelles. Is a group of antelopes. We call them the Tommies sometimes, two males, and they were fighting for whatever reason. And it was about 45 minutes non-stop fight. And as soon as the one that won stood there looking at the loser just stayed down, and the winner tended like to mount on the loser. Then the winner walked away, and 10 seconds later, jackals appeared from nowhere, and they tore the bleeding Thomson gazelle to death, and they killed it alive. I mean, it was a very moving moment where it ended up like my game brave that day, because the guests I had could not believe that. But that is one moment or one experience I'll never forget in my career. Thank you, Joy, for that question. Very good. My background in guiding has been in Kenya, and I've been guiding the whole of Africa as much as I'm born in Kenya. If you look on the map of Kenya, there is Nairobi city, and you go to the west of Kenya towards Uganda, there is a big freshwater lake called Lake Victoria. I come from somewhere in the middle. We call them the Great Lakes of Kenya. The lake there is either Lake Naivasha or Lake Nakuru. And I've been all over Africa guiding, South Africa, Egypt, East Africa being my home, Botswana, Namibia, name it. And it's something I love, and my family have always supported me. I got 2 sons and I got a daughter. Thank you for being my audience. Asante sana. Very good. Being such a beautiful afternoon in the Mara, I mean, one of my favorite game reserves in East Africa. I'm thinking of trying to locate some ellis, and from a distance way out to my left, I can see a beautiful family of ellis way out on some marsh, beautiful green area. There's a huge herd of elephants there. I'm sure Greg could get hold of them, and we're going to be seeing how close we can get to them and find out what they're up to this afternoon, because after spending most of the time on cool, wet areas feeding, as the day ends, they may want to come out so that they don't get foot rot, to dry their feet and have a little drink. That should be our destination now in the next 15-20 minutes, and find out what could be happening there. Asante sana. Right, so let's find out what Brent is doing with the 5 cheetahs, the musketeers, if anything interesting, or they have brought someone else down for dinner, having brought the hartebeest down earlier this morning. Tell us what could be happening there.
Well, yes, we're going to leave the musketeers to sleep off their hartebeest they ate this morning, and we know exactly where Miale is. She's just here, but she's right in a croton thicket. So I'm doing little loops around where she is, seeing what we can find. And there's a little waterhole here that I've had some good birding at in the past. So let's go see if we can find some birds while we wait for Madame Miale to get up and start hunting for dinner. So she was unsuccessful in hunting last night and this morning. So I'm hoping she's going to be absolutely starved this evening, and she'll be out on the hunt. And we have a ranger with us, so we can stay out after park times if she does get moving a little bit later, because it is quite hot today. James is wondering, do I miss seeing wild dogs? James, always. I love puppies. I do miss seeing wild dogs, but I get to spend so much time with Cheetah here, which is also an incredible experience. And I mean, just look at the vistas here. It is absolutely spectacular. Now, we often get asked, oh, what's your favorite, the Mara or Djuma or whatnot? And actually, I find that question quite difficult to answer. I don't really have a favorite between them. I really like both of them, but for different reasons. And I must say, I enjoy my time wherever I am. And that's something I learned a long time ago. You don't always want to be somewhere new, somewhere different. While you are in a place, you must just experience and grab all the opportunities you have while here. Okay, the first bird of the afternoon. He is not a water bird, even though we're on the edge of the water. It is a grey, oh sorry, on the bushes to the right there, Adrian. Let's start with those ones there. There we go, grey-backed fiscals. There we go, hello fiscal. Now, sitting there in a nice open spot to hawk for insects. Now, of course, the fiscal shrike family are well-known impalers of insects. So if they catch something, they'll impale it on a stick, or if they fall, on a stick or a thorn to save for later. And most of the members of the fiscal family will all do that. Now we have two species of fiscals that we see in the Mara, the greyback fiscal, which is quite a lot bigger, and we normally see them in flocks, and then of course the common fiscal, which is not uncommon, but less common than the greyback fiscals, but we tend to find them closer to the forested areas. Okay, now if we move from the fiscals off to the left, and to the edge of the water, there's some lapwings. And you get in, there we go. You see the lapwing there? There it is. There we go, a wattled lapwing. Yeah, a wattled lapwing. Now, I always like to have a close look around these waterholes because you sometimes find birds that you haven't seen before. Okay, I'm just going to climb up a little bit higher onto the dam wall. Okay, are we going to get stuck? Are we going to join the Marshmallow Club here? Are you holding on, Adrian? Are you holding on? We're going to have to do some speed through here. Wait, let's make sure. Diff lock on. So, Taylor, just in case, next time you're on drive, before you want to go through something like this, make sure you're in low range and then put the diff lock on as well. Whee! And carry on. Oh, sorry, apparently as I went whee through the mud, you lost us for a second. Okay, there's a heron. You see him there? Oh, let me have a look. Yeah, you got him. There we go, grey heron by the looks of things. Yep, grey heron hiding behind the little mound there. It's amazing, the last time I was at this little waterhole, it was quite empty. And we actually had some teals, red-billed teals here, but no teals today. I was hoping for a few more water birds. Where are my binoculars? Let me just do a quick scan of the edge. Oh. I'm not even of any. The only other bird I can spy is an Egyptian goose, which is off the front there. So far less birds here than when I was last here. Now that could obviously be because there's a lot more water around, so a lot of the aquatic birds are far more spread out. When I was last here it was quite dry and this was the only water about. Well, okie dokie. Well, let's keep moving. I'm hoping we can find some northern wheat ears. There have been quite a lot around. So we're going to keep moving along here. We're going to go up along to the crest. I'm keeping an eye on where Miale is. So I know she's probably only about 100 meters from me now. But she, as I say, she's right in a thicket. And hopefully she will get moving. As I say, we've got a bit of time. I don't want to be too far away from where she is.
I said earlier, we are coming to some beautiful herd of elephants, and just look at that nice herd of ellis there, feeding, very, very happy campers, and great light we got today. And you can see, I would guess that should be the lead mama or the lead female, and making sure everybody is happy. The grass, if you look here, is a little greener than the other parts, like a little marsh area. It's more nutritious, much softer, because most of them here are females and they have the calves. They want to get an easy feed. And as they mature, they'll be introduced to much harder food. And they might be here another half an hour, 1 hour before they start heading out, so that they are able to dry their feet. And if you look also way back behind this herd we see in front of us.
It's very excited that you found elephants, Jason.
Very good, Jason. Jason, if he loves elephants, he should also know. Apparently, ellies are my best, or my favorite animals. Elephants will engage you throughout, unlike the cats, but an elephant will keep you busy almost the whole day, because you're always in communication. They're always doing something. And tell him thank you. I love elephants. Find out for me from Jason whether he has ever been to Africa. If not, he should come and experience this beauty. Bring that question again, Megan. If I get you right, is the type of grass elephants feed on, and there's different type, but the main one would be like the elephant grass. That's what basically they feed on. But on the marsh, it would be a combination of the marsh grass that you can see there and a bit of lucerne that's a bit tough for them to get roughage. Most of it is not very, very nutritious because ellies are not very efficient in their digestion, but they'll try and get a bit of roughage from what they're feeding on. And as you see them feeding on, you look on the lead mama, the one close to me there, anytime she grabs food using her trunk, it can't bring it up. Give a little knock, a little push using its right foot to bring it up. And if it's a bit soily or not very clean, it will just shake the grass to make sure only good stuff got into its tummy. Very, very intelligent animals they are, ellis. Very difficult to see the elephants giving birth, but you can always guess the moment, because ideally the ellies or the females will surround. If it happens like during the day in an open area and you're out on a game drive, the herd will always go and surround the ellie bringing down the calf. And it's quite rare to see it, but you can always tell the moment something is happening if the timing is right. But personally, I haven't seen one. But a very new baby, like a day old too, I have seen quite many. We got many people who have been researching on elephants for ages, but we rarely see them capture that action. But I think it's also out of respect to give them their space. And being intelligent as they are, they'll also make sure that's a very, very private moment for them, like for human beings also. They'll have their privacy out there in the bush, away from anybody else, even I think from the other animals too. And they also know that the babies could be also vulnerable to their predators, so they'll keep it as secret, as private as possible.
Julie wants to know if the matriarch is always the biggest.
In general, Juliet, well done. In general, yes, for so many reasons. The elephants psychologically want to feel they have the right lead with them. They have a stronger female leading them. The female must look big because they know they are safe. Ideally, yes, but occasionally you get the matriarch being a little smaller in size, but very, very, very intelligent. But I would say 9 out of 10 times the matriarch is large in size, and that will intimidate anybody out there. Good question. Very good. Thank you very much, Brent. Keep trying the cheetahs. If you're lucky, let us know. And very good luck. And talk to you soon.
We are still biding our time before going down to Madamiale. And so last night there was a massive influx of topi and zebra. And I'm just trying to see where they've gone. But this morning there must have been about 2,000 zebra that appeared out of nowhere. But what looks like it's happened is they've came in together. Now they've split off into these little groups all over. So the more rain that we get in this area on these short grass plains around Talek, the more it's going to bring in the zebra and hopefully also bring in the wildebeest from the loiter herd. Hello, striped donkeys. Now, of course, this is not the first donkey we've seen today. In the village of Talek, Adrian and I saw about 7 or 8 normal donkeys on our way through to the entrance to the reserve today. It is wonderful out here, and I'm actually quite enjoying the fact that there isn't a howling gale. Oh, hello zebras, what are you up to? Oh. Are we going to fight with each other, kick each other, bite each other? Hi, Joy. Joy is wondering how long we have been streaming in Kenya for. Well, I arrived here on the 1st, 1st of May, and I think we started probably broadcasting a week or 2 after that. So since May, we have been broadcasting from the Mara as well. Here we go. Now, I was hoping to find a bigger group of zebra, because big groups of zebra are always full of nonsense, biting each other on the bottom, kicking each other. So let's keep meandering, and we're going to do another loop down and then head back down towards Miale. Maybe we'll just stop in and say howdy doody to Miale and then go on another loop while we wait for her to get moving. Hi, Elisa and Matt. They would like to know, what is my favorite time of year in the Mara? Well, all the year. No, again, it's another question like you asked. Where's your favorite area to guide? Where's the best place to be? And I do enjoy all different facets. I must say, I am loving this time of the year, though. Even though the wildebeest aren't here, as you can see, there's still a huge amount of animals, and you do have a little bit less vehicles around, I suppose. So it's quite nice, and you can have huge swathes of the Mara all to yourself, which I quite enjoy. And also at this time of the year, the birding is better. So we got quite a lot of migrants around. I'm actually looking for a particular migrant right now, which is the northern wheatear, which travels all the way from Russia to be here during the summer. They're also all over Turkey and that, but there was one ringed bird that's come from Russia to the Mara. And first place I saw them was around here. There's also big flocks of Caspian terns up on these short grass. I'm not terns, Caspian plovers, I apologize. Up on these short grasses at the moment. Oh look, a lovely bit of shade. Let's go see what's happening in the shade. Oh, we've got a retired wildebeest. Now, not from this migration, probably from a migration or 3 ago. Let's have a look. Oh, don't want to get... there we go. There we go. Tired wildebeest, quite an old one. Actually, probably more than 3 migrations ago. Probably quite a bit older. Now, what I love to do is when I find these old skulls like this, is to have a closer look to see if there's been anything else apart from the obvious feeding on them. So, of course, your obvious would be the hyenas and things like that. But often if you look carefully at these skulls, now this might not be in the best place. Let's have a look. No, this one actually looks pretty intact. It is quite old. Oopsie, dropping pieces of bone on my chair. So what I am looking for, and I suppose the rodents here have such a choice after the migration with the amount of bones and stuff around. But if you look carefully often on skulls like this, you'll find tiny little gnaw marks from rodents in particular. And of course, they use their teeth a lot, so they often have calcium deficiencies, and the way they sort out that calcium deficiency is actually to chew on bones. Now, we're not going to find a sign of porcupine up here on the crest, but we have seen quite a lot of porcupines in the Mara around the luggers and that, and the porcupines, also to maintain their quills and that, need a high amount of calcium, so you will find them, and their teeth are obviously quite a lot bigger, being the largest rodent in Africa, and you can see sort of big scours when there's a porcupine being chewed on a bone. There we go. Anyway, I got a question for you. Male or female? Hashtag Safari Live. Male or female retired wildebeest? Long retired wildebeest. Okay, well, let's put that back, just in case some very minute rodent has been chewing on it and I didn't see. Let's have a look. While we're here, some more pieces. Oh, we've got lots of interesting... Whoa! It wasn't. It was an Angama that gave me a little bit of a fright. So we've got quite a lot of interesting stuff around here. We'll do that one a little bit later. Put my ears in just in case any you have any questions or guesses. So, I'm going to have a look here. We've got some of... Actually, I'm going to put it there. How's that for you there, Adrian? Is that good? So, you can actually see how deep the roots are. You can actually see how deep the roots are of a herbivore's teeth. Now, look at that. So that's the only part that would be out. And of course, it's not actually a particularly old animal. You can see the teeth haven't been worn down. It probably, more than likely, got caught by lions. But you can actually now, that's quite a nice way to see inside. And you can also see how around there's the spongy... It looks spongy now and soft now, but obviously, in a fresh in a live animal, it's almost like a bit of a shock absorber there. And we also almost have similar, but not quite the same, around our teeth for when we're chewing, and so we can take a few knocks on it. And there's some lichens made its home inside there. That is quite cool. Grinding teeth, and that's the missing part from over there. Shame. Poor Wildy. I just wanted to see if there were any rodent chewing marks on this one, but not. But what I did find was this. Now this is a balanites seed, and it looks like it's been fed off. It's almost certainly been fed off by a bird. Could be parrots, just looking at how sharp that is. Could be go-away bird as well. And they've just eaten the flesh around the side. So this is of course Balanites aegyptica, so different from the one we get down in South Africa, which is more gamai. But I'm pretty sure you'll probably find the inside has got some of the same qualities. So I'm going to actually get out my... Did I bring my knife? Yes, I did bring my knife. I'm going to get my knife out and try and get down to the oil that's inside the tree that gives it the name the torch wood. Now, I'm pretty sure it probably also has the same poisonous properties as the morgamai. I'm not actually sure. I'm going to have to double check that. So if you actually grind up the seeds and that oil from the seeds and you throw it into a stagnant pond, it'll kill all living creatures in there, including fish. And as long as you remove the stomach, then the meat is not tainted by the poison. And it has been used traditionally all over Africa to get an easy meal. There you go. I'm going to actually have to carve at that one to get through to that. Doesn't smell very appetizing, I won't lie. So it's not actually the fruit itself that's poison, it's the inside, it's the oil on the inside. It smells a bit like, I'm trying to think, it definitely reminds me of something. A cross between an off banana and an off papaya. You have a smell. What do you think, Adrian? What do you think that smells like? Or breadfruit? Yeah, it smells familiar. I can't place it. I'm trying to think. Breadfruit, maybe? Rotten breadfruit? Yeah. Rotten breadfruit, actually, I think, is probably the closest. Okay, well, as I say, I'm going to have to get my knife out and hack away at that to try get to the oil on the inside. But it sounds like we've got some guesses for male versus female wildebeest. Oh, it seems like a lot of you said female. Let me just go get it quickly. I'll keep that. See, I'm going to disagree. I'm actually going to say it's a male. So the reason I'm going to say it's a male is this is a very old skull, so the horns have obviously come down. But you must remember that it was been the keratin layer here, and there would have been a boss here. And you can see how thick this is. This has actually been degraded. There's already been, if you look carefully, there, can you see the holes there? There's some small holes from horn moths. Or fish moths, they're basically horn moths or fish moths that eat the keratin. So I actually say it's a male. Not a particularly big male, but just the size of this bottom boss here would say it's a male. Okay, so from myself and the retired, let's see if can I do this? Can I balance? You reckon I can balance? I don't know if I can. From myself and the retired wildebeest, I'm just going to have to put my hand there. Goodbye. We'll see you again shortly. We're going to go back to David and his glorious elephants.
I've always thought every day I'm out in the bush, my day is never complete without the elephants. I mean, I've been here for quite some time, and you feel you want to join them. If you look carefully, there's one that's almost submerged in the water, in the marsh there. It's both feeding and drinking at the same time. And if you look carefully, there's one in the middle there that have like two different colors, is because it was just splashing, little jacuzzi-like on its body just to cool off. And they'll always keep flapping their ears to bring the body temperatures or to maintain, regulate the body temperatures. Looking carefully at the one, we may not see very well, but one of them is missing a tusk. The left tusk is missing. And then if you turn a little bit to my right, like 12 o'clock from me, there's one that doesn't have any tusk. It's very, very common to see that on the elephants. And ideally what happens, it could be through evolution. And research have said, like, yeah, that's very good spot near Craig. It could be evolution or it is genetical. It got nothing to do with poaching. And so many times you've seen elephant, having one tusk, having a broken tusk, or not having any at all. And they still do what they need to do, as much as the tusks perform a very important task for them to be able to feed and bring down trees. And occasionally, if the boys or the males have to fight it out, they will need the tusks. But still, somehow, they're able to do what they want. We have seen the matriarchs, if they realize one of the calves is born without the tusks, and the calf cannot reach, say, the top branches to bring them down for food, we have seen the matriarchs just helping them out and using their trunks, grabbing them and bringing it down to help feed the calves. And they do it very, very well. I'm going to be driving up a little bit forward to get close to these very friendly creatures to see what else they'll be telling us.
Meg wants to know your favorite encounter with elephants.
All right. My favorite encounter with elephant is one time we had a little baby. They were in a little big puddle and they were just cooling themselves in, wallowing, playing about in the water, and it was time to go. And one of the calves might have sprained its ankle and it just couldn't move. And the auntie, thinking it was not the mother who had this calf, it was an auntie, the auntie did not know what was happening and it was almost forgotten. The mother was very, very upset with the sister. She came back and had a little fight with the sister, and like, this should not go like this, and little bruises there. And the mother went down to the paddle and using her trunk lifted the baby and literally threw it out of the paddle, and it was like a clap for everybody. But the calf had to stay there for the next half a day or so for it to regain its ankle because it could not move. But finally we came back the day after, it was gone, and we hope it survived well.
Question from Tom: do elephant herds ever fight?
Really, elephant herds don't fight. They bond very well. They're very, very social animals. The only one time we see some little fights when we have the males, so like say between two males, or when the big boys want the young ones out to avoid inbreeding. That's the only one time we see real differences in elephant herds. But ideally, they're very social, they're very friendly. But you'll see them in small clusters, small herds, big herds. But herd to herd, they do not fight, Tom. It's time to have a loose stop there for the one without the tusks. Shows it's doing well, albeit not having the two tusks. Everything, or the pistons of that elephant seem to be running very well. Looking on the far right, there's another one also coming up. Yes. Sorry, go ahead, Megan.
Julie, are elephants born blind?
No, the elephants are not born blind. Good question, Julie. They can see as soon as they're born, and the mothers will always have no worries. So, Julie, yes, elephants, they, unlike, say, the cubs of some cats that may be born blind, elephant babies are born with their sight, and they can see very well. We got magnificent light, as you can all see. Everybody's happy, a lot of food to eat, a lot of water to drink. And the one on the right also looks like also another big mama. Could be maybe the assistant matriarch, or could be taking over in the very near future. She looks like she has a very big belly. Maybe she could be pregnant if the calf ahead of it is, it's. But it's just a wonderful day to see what Mother Nature is offering us this afternoon. Still a little windy, and what a beautiful world if we could all live like this in harmony, peacefully. Mind your business, I mind mine, feed, be happy, smile. And what a beautiful world to be in. If my cameraman Craig can zoom all the way like another 180 degrees from where we are, in the background of the green marsh there, you can still pick like another 100 plus elephants. And I couldn't ask for a better day in the bush. We've got a nice big herd of about 20-30 ellies. And way out in the background in the river and forest along the river there could be like 100 plus ellies. And all of them minding their own business and everybody being happy. Very good. Brent, what could be happening at your part of the world, the other side of the Mara? And I can tell you we're having a blast here with Ellis. Should you want to come and join us, we have 100 plus Ellis. And let us know what's happening on your world.
Well, there we go. I said I was looking for some red-billed teals, and they were normally at that little waterhole we were at earlier. But with all the little mud puddles around, there's lots of spots for the red-billed teals to... Oh, a little burp from the teal. Not from the teal. From a frog close to the teal. Burp. Sounds like a toad rather than a frog, although toads are frogs. The main difference between frogs and toads is the bufo glands on their head. So all true toads have toxic glands just behind their eyes, and that's where they get their scientific name from, bufo. And you can have lots of different bufos, but the beginning is from those glands there. And I'm afraid my Kenyan frogs are not quite the same as my Southern African frogs, so I can't tell you which toad that is. Oh, of course, it's quiet. The teals have now found themselves a bit of deeper water to get out of our way. Now, I still haven't managed to dissect our torchwood seed yet. I am going to, but I'm going to make my way towards Miale, and then while I'm sitting at Miale, I will take out my knife and get down to the oil. Now, yeah, I think it definitely smells like slightly funky breadfruit. Now, how do you describe breadfruit? There's a new one. It's a very big fruit that grows in tropical parts of Africa. I don't know if it's indigenous to Africa though. You can eat it in all sorts of ways. People cook it, you can eat it raw. Do you like breadfruit, Adrian? No, me neither. I don't either. I really don't like breadfruit. Oh yeah, I've been hooked into the door here. There we go. Now, I'm not a fan of breadfruit. I think it smells better than it tastes, personally, and it doesn't smell that great, to be honest. But it's a, I suppose it's a bit like, it's got a very similar texture to bread, hence the name breadfruit. Okay, let's go see that. I'm pretty sure Madame Miale is still, oh dear, fast asleep. What did I do? Oh no, it is still there. I thought I had lost it for a second. Shahwa would like to know what causes discoloration to the teeth of different animals. Well, normally on your herbivores there's a sort of a brown stain, and that's from the sugars in the grasses. Stains at plant material, that's what normally causes the discoloration. From the predators, it's generally their teeth are nice and clean and white, unless they've got an infection or a break, and then it's just a build-up of gunk and stuff that they eat that will cause discoloration. But the starch or the sugars in the grass causes the discoloration on the herbivore's teeth. Oh, we have some crowned lapwings. We saw wattled lapwings a little bit earlier. Now we've got some crowned lapwings next to us. One of the noisiest birds around. Also quite fearless. If a predator comes near where their nest is, they are quick to dive bomb them. I've even seen them dive bomb elephants to avoid the elephants standing on their nests. Oh, Adrian, there's a very pretty bird. It's about to land. Doop. Got him there. Where'd he go? Are you on the wrong bush, I think? The bush to the left. There we go, that bush. There you go, a superb starling. And doesn't it look superb in this light? And you can see that iridescence shining off its feathers. Now, if you're a male starling and your iridescence isn't on game, the ladies are not going to love you. It's also a sign of health. The shinier and prettier a starling is, the healthier it is. So this is a very healthy starling. And you can see that wonderful sheen off its feathers. And that very distinct pale eye. And the crowned lapwing hopping around in the background. Okay, bye-bye, birds. It's time to look for some cats. As I said, we found Miale not long after the end of the drive. And before drive started, we came past and she still hadn't moved. So we're going to go sit with her for a little bit, judge whether she's going to move or not, and give me a chance to try get down to the center of the Balanite seed. But while we do that, let's go across to David with the elephants that sometimes eat the Balanite seeds.
Yeah, Alice, you can see one of the calves there is suckling, and pretty big calf. I would say calf to be suckling at that age. But either way, I don't think the mother is very happy. It's trying to, like, you have to stop it. You know, it's suckling at the same time. It's doing its number 2 business there. And the mother is moving on, telling it, we need to stop this. You're becoming a big baby now. You need to be weaned and start feeding on the hard stuff. I'll move forward a little bit to give you a different angle and still enjoy my favorite animals here. And you can see this side, the clouds are building up there, and we're getting a little bit shaded, but still some beautiful light to keep enjoying these alleys here. From who? Valpai, thank you. The biggest head of elephant I think I might have seen was about 300 plus, and that was a huge herd, a huge number by any standard, but that was in Botswana. But sometimes in Kenya you may see that, though it's quite rare. But the number was about 300 together. ideally, Ellies, it's very difficult to see one elephant or two together unless something is very, very, very wrong. So they'll always go in big herds. Occasionally, depending on availability of food, you might see 10, 15 together. But seeing 50, 100, 200 together, it's nothing out of the ordinary. They're very, very, very social animals. Again, safety in numbers, and that is how they succeed, and that keeps them going to make sure that they're very safe and they survive and they thrive very, very well. Little windy, and you can still see either way all the cows will keep the calves right either in the middle or very, very close to them. They do not allow them to venture very, very far, and if anybody does that, using ultrasound, they'll be like, come on, come over, don't go very far, anything could go wrong with you. There could be a predator laying out there waiting for you to have dinner. And like young boys, there's one there that was playing with a little stick there. They can become very, very playful. It's getting a little windy now, but all good. Joy, thank you very much. Elephant, once you warm up with them, they can come, not you going to them, they can come so close to you. I would say like even 5-10 inches away. Sometimes they may even want to rub against your jeep. That's when you warm up with them and you show them how friendly they are, because elephants are very intelligent. They can read you. They'll know who looks aggressive, who will intimidate them. But I've been like up to 5-10 inches to them. So long as you're calm, you're quiet, there's not a lot of movement, they might even be grazing about 3, 4, 5 feet from where you are, and they'll just go their way. Most important for the big animals, and more so to the elephant, as Joy, you asked, so long as they know you are there and you look friendly, they will not worry a minute. And as you approach them, let them know you're coming close if you want to do that. But so long as they can see you and you warm up with them nicely, nothing will go wrong. They'll come as close as possible. You may not believe it. And you don't scare them. At their own time, they will leave you if they become very, very close to where you are. And you'll also go your way. It only becomes a challenge when you surprise them, when you just get them off guard. That could be a different story. These guys have been with them here for the last... Yes, go ahead. My name, right? Lions will go for anybody, including human beings, but they will not go for the fully grown elephants. They will go for the babies, and if babies are forgotten, or a baby could be sick, or a baby could be lost somewhere, they will go for them. But for the fully grown elephants, lions will not take any chances, because the elephants just crush them, just kill them very easily. You realize very good. You realize the ellis before were drinking on the marsh. They're crossing a small little stream here, and they're not bothered to drink there because most of the grass they eat, some of it is very succulent, wet. They eat it at the same time drinking, and you would wonder why they just cross the stream without drinking water, and that's the reason. Thank you very much. Crossing over to Brent on the other side to give us any news from where he is.
Well, I said we've known where Miale and Sun have been the whole time, and the reason we've been bumbling about, seeing what else we can find, is because that's what they're going to be doing. I think they're only going to get moving in an hour or so, maybe even a bit longer. But they are hungry, so I think they will take advantage of the cool afternoon to hunt. And I think we're going to get lucky. It doesn't look like we're going to get rained on today, which is always a good bonus. Now, I have managed to remove the flesh, or most of it, from off the Balanites seed that we picked up a little bit earlier. So there we go. There is the Balanite seed. So now often you will find them not quite as clean and as pretty as this one is. Oh, there's a little go away. Inside elephant dung. So elephants are one of the dispersers of them. Now this is incredibly hard, and it is designed that the elephants aren't able to digest the core part of the seed. So they're after the little bit of flesh that's around it, and then they will then pass this out in their dung, and the seed's got a nice sort of ready-made manure to start its life with. Now I'm going to show you how strong this is. Just give me a second here before I open it up. So if I take some pliers here and I put it right in the cutting, or in the middle of the pliers, look at that. And I'm not a weak guy. I still haven't managed to crack it open. Isn't that incredible? So the only way we're going to get this one open is to bring out the big guns. Megan says it's because I'm not strong enough. Okay, Megs, I'm going to bring you a seed and you show me how it's done when I get back to camp tomorrow. But what we're going to do, Megan says game on. So what we're going to do instead is use the saw. And I don't want to get all the way through too quickly. I'm going to try to show you the oil that gives the torchwood its name. Now, sometimes the oil is dry. Oh, we're nearly there. Ah, no, I'm joking. It wasn't my finger. So we're nearly there. Getting through. There we go. Now, look, you can see there. So that's actually the seed part. Now, this is all encasing to protect it before it germinates. Now, you can see that little sort of damp patch there. That's from the oil. This one, often what happens is when they don't have good oil, it means, oh dear, oh, exactly that. I was hoping this. I checked. I didn't see any holes in the seed. But I'm gonna close it up. But there's an egg. No, it's hatched. I'm not sure what insect is that. Can you see inside there? There, it's hatched. But that's why there's no oil in the seed. After all that work, there is the exoskeleton of an insect that's laid its nest inside here. Now you saw how tough it was for me to get inside to the center. And I imagine how tough it would be for any predator to try and get to that insect. Now it's hatched and escaped. I think it looks like a type of fly. And you know what? From eating the inside, and they've eaten the inside out completely, there is still a bit of seed left. We might be able to get a little bit of oil. Let's put that part looks like we might get a bit of oil out of it just now. But I'm going to try to see what type of insect this is. It looks like some kind of fly or ant. Okay, just zoom out, otherwise it's going to be very messy there, Adrian. Sorry, while I try extract carefully without breaking, because often these exoskeletons okay, well, I'm nearly there. So while I'm fiddling here, Joy in Hong Kong is wondering, why are Balanite seeds so dispersed? Is it because they rely on elephants? They don't only rely on elephants. Now that's going to be near impossible to see, but that was Mom. I think she's crawled in there and then died. And I can't see exactly whether she was a flying insect or not. So right on the tip of the... There we go. It looks like it was one of the flying bugs of some kind. Not necessarily a fly, but a flying insect. Of course, they would have to be flying insects or crawling insects, I suppose, to get up. Sorry, I'm just going to put it in my hand. I just want to see the underneath quickly to try figure out what it could be. Oh, I'm afraid I have no idea. But I'll do some research into finding out what type of little bugs do go inside the balanites seeds. But there we go. I think, see, the problem is you can't really tell. She's lost her legs and lost, if she did have wings, she would have lost them. Probably quite like a fig wasp. When they go inside the figs, they lose their wings, and some of them actually live their whole life inside a fig. There we go. But anyway, that was interesting. But I've still got to try and make some oil for you. Let's put that down. Joy would like to know, is this inside seed edible to humans? No, it's not. It's actually noxious. It's poisonous. This is the part you would use to poison the fish. And you grind that up into a powder and then throw it into water, and it'll actually poison frogs, fish, anything that's in there. Now, I can still see now, this part is where it gets the torchwood from. So you can, I don't know if I squeeze, maybe if I come a bit closer, is it a bit easier for you there, Adrian? Let me just have a look. Okay, now if I squeeze, you should be able to see there is a little bit of oil. It's quite difficult to see though. But what I might do when it gets a bit darker, a little bit later tonight, is I'm going to keep this, and hopefully it's got enough oil left from the bugs a little bit further, from the bugs having munched it all, or we can actually go find another one that hasn't fire. The way I get to play with two of boys' favorite things. I've got to play with a knife, and I get to set something alight later. So guys, just remind me a little bit later as it gets a bit darker, or towards the late afternoon, to remind me to set it alight. That'll be so much fun. Okay, but while I think I'm going to go find another seed, but while we go find another seed and wait for Miale to get moving, let's go back across to David, who's now left his Ellies.
Still enjoying the elephants here, as you can see, but just before, with the elephants in the background, right close to us here, you got the buffaloes. Most big herds, most big game buffaloes, they tend to connect also very well with other big animals like the elephants because of safety numbers. And the 3-4 buffaloes or 5 here, you can tell they're males by baying on their own. They also go in big herds, but ideally as the buffaloes get older, the males are always shown the door by the females, and these are the boys you don't want to play about with. They become very, very dangerous when you meet them on their own. So as much as you can, you may walk through, say, 500 buffaloes, but 1 to 5 could be very, very fatal. So we're going to drive closer to the bigger herd of elephants and see where there's a big gap between the one herd we had before and this herd. And in the Mara, unlike all the other game parks of Kenya, it's one area because of the savanna vegetation. It's just wonderful. The openness of the grass makes it very easy to see the big game very nicely. The cats could be a bit of a challenge, but the big animals, the buffaloes, the elephants, you can get very good shots on a good day and great lighting like this. So we're going to just pull forward a little bit and find out. They've taken rather long in the marsh area than normal, but I'm sure they're having enough early dinner there before the end of the day. Do buffaloes migrate? Some buffaloes do not migrate, but they stay within the same area, just like the elephants. They do not migrate. And looking at one there, I'm not sure Craig can get it either. The tail, the base of the tail looks a little bloody. Not sure if a cat wanted to bring it down or not. But yes, just to answer you, Sam, buffaloes do not migrate. They may do what we call internal migration within a particular home range, but they do not go very far. Unlike the wildebeest, which will do like thousands of miles from Serengeti to Masai Mara in Kenya and vice versa, buffaloes do not migrate. So we are looking at one male buffalo there at the very base of the tail. Looks a little bloody, and today could be a lucky day, and could be some predators, and more so lions than anybody else might have want to bring him down, but he survived, if not a natural wound. But it looks pretty fresh wound. Could be have been early in the day. He was caught off guard napping, but maybe he fought back and survived. We haven't seen any signs of lions around, but you never know. It could have been a single female or male that tried and thought, I can't bring him down, and then just walked away. So back to our destination. Let's get closer to the big heart of Ellis and see what's up there. There has been a myth, Mike, about elephants having graveyards. But what would happen is elephants, as they get older, sometimes they'll go to some very deep marsh areas or swampy areas where maybe they eaten when natural death or when biology comes in and they die. They tend like to sink in there. But this theory or the myth that elephants have graveyards is not true. But occasionally you might get some ellis. Should one of them die for either a natural causes or meditate once in a while. But the fact is, yeah, elephants do not have graveyards. Thank you, Mike. My favorite big animal will be the elephant, see, Mark, no doubt about it. When you come to the cats, my favorite cat will be the leopard. When you come at small little game, Thompson gazelles, I love them. Talk of the reptiles, I love the terrapins. Thank you, Isaac. If you got any news on the cheetahs and the musketeers, please come to us. Let us know what's happening there. To you, Brent, thank you very much.
Well, we're going to stay where we can keep an eye on Miale, but I'm heading back up towards the Balanites trees to see if I can find some more fruit to make fire. Hopefully we have some success. So I'm going to try and look a little bit more carefully. The reason we couldn't really see that there had been an insect burrowing into that one is due to the fact that that had been fed on, the flesh had been fed on by the bird, so it made it a little bit more difficult. But we got 1, 2, 3, 4 Balanites to choose from up here. And we can still keep an eye on where Madam Miale is, and her young boy. I'm still looking for the northern wheat ears. It was a miracle. As we crossed back to David last time, all of a sudden 2 northern wheat ears flew past. But that's Murphy's law. also surprised. I saw a big flock of Caspian plovers fly and land somewhere up here, but I just can't see where at the moment. Aaron is wondering how often, I think Megs has got her pronunciation wrong here, Hottentot teals in the Mara. I don't actually, if my brain remembers. No, Megan says that's so. Megan said hot tot teals. No, but they are Hottentot teals. If I remember correctly, I don't think they occur in the Mara. We're too far north for them. But I will, as I loop around, to search to see if this is a fruiting balanites or we need to go back to the wildebeest. So we want ones that are quite green. We don't want the old ones. Let me just check on the teal quickly. Oh, I stand corrected, Aaron. Hottentot teals do occur in the Mara, and I have not seen one, to be completely honest. So there's that. So there's something to look forward to. So it looks very similar to the red-billed teal we just saw, except it's got a baby blue bill. Oh no, there we go. There's one. It's got any insects in it. A little bit more green than this one. There we go, you can see that one's very sticky, very smelly as well. But it'll work. We'll keep that one. There's only one here. That's impossible. Maybe I should extend my search slightly. And that one where we were earlier is still fruiting because of how green it was. But anyway, it's another one to pop in for our fire building expedition or experiment later. Okay, let's keep moving. And one last scan on the periphery here. Alas, no more fruit. Well, I'm going to keep looking for some more balanites fruit while I do that. It seems like David is having a pachyderm-filled afternoon.
It can't be better than this. If you look, like I would say, 180 degrees, it's just small little heaven where we are. And the eel is there, the buffaloes there, the waterbucks there. And if you look close to the elephants, the little white birds moving along with them, what we call the cattle egrets. And they have what we call sometimes intra-specific relationship where one benefits from the other. Every time the elephants move and they pick the grass from the ground or they just move the grass with their feet, we get all these little insects jumping up. And that's what the egrets will feed on. So you realize, as I said earlier, one of the reasons why elephants are my favorite animals, because so many other wildlife depend on them. So these little birds, they may not be able to go hunting or feeding on their own, but by virtue of having the elephants there, they are able to feed themselves. So you'd imagine what these birds would be thinking without the elephants, or you'd imagine how they would struggle to weave in the grass to get all those little bugs there to feed on. But it's so simple. An elephant have big feet, just steps on a small little bug. It's like, I don't want to die, jumps up. The egret's like, come here for my early dinner. And what a beautiful relationship they make. I love birds. I love birds, and I would say yes, I'm a birder because I love birds. With the clients who come looking for birds, I've always, categorized my group of clients like birders. They're clients that are also called bird watchers. There's some clients that are called twitchers, depending on what part of the world they come from. And it only becomes a challenge when we are doing the LBJs, but it's great stuff that a bird will, you'll confuse one hawk from another. One testicular will be mistaken for another. An elephant remains an elephant, a buffalo remains a buffalo, but birds will make you sweat, and you'll always go to your reference books with your clients. You'll fight over it until you're convinced, yes, this is the right bird. I love birds because they make me work hard. After the game drive or after being out in the day in the bush when the clients are eating, you may skip dinner to go and find out what could have gone wrong with one particular species that you couldn't get right. And yeah, it is a good thing to work on the birds. I like the big game. Thank you, James. Djuma, thank you, Djuma. My favorite bird would be the lilac-breasted roller. I mean, when I look at the rollers, and especially, and in particular, the lilac-breasted roller, it has like 5, 6, 7 different colors. That's very colorful for a natural species to look like that. And if you're lucky to see them out there when they're romantic, when you see them out there when they're mating, and you see them mating, rolling in the air, as that might have given their name, there's nothing as spectacular as that. And when they're making the calls, when they're dating, when they're engaging, I mean, you just love it. You might think it's an alarm call, but it's a mating call. So lilac-breasted roller Djuma is my favorite bird. We have so many types of egrets found in Kenya. We have the cattle egret, different types. What we have right now live here are the cattle egrets, but we have a number of egrets depending on where you are, what they're feeding on, and you'll see them different, T-Mac. But what we have right now are the cattle egrets, but we have different types of egrets. We have also the greater egret, which is much bigger in size than what we are seeing here, and we have about 5, 6 different types of egrets in Kenya. We'll keep enjoying these elephants the next couple of minutes, because there's one site when you go, you park your car, you don't want to leave, and we might be pulling forward. I see another beautiful bird out there. Could be a kind of a stock that's very rare to spot and find out who that is, but it's also another egret stock. We're going to be moving forward there with my cameraman. And Brent, let us know what's happening at your end.
Well, we have a lazy kitty cat, and not a cheetah this time. It is a male lion, enjoying the shade of a croton thicket. Not too far away from where Miale is, probably about 1.5 kilometers or so. This is incredible. So we've got 2 out of the 3 big cats so far. Oh, he's lifting his head slightly. No, he's just going to roll over. Tired kitty. It's tough at the top. Ravinda is wondering, are there any nomadic male lions in the Mara? The answer to that question, Ravinda, is many. Many nomadic males. We've seen groups of 6, I've seen groups of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. No, there are a lot of nomadic lions in the Mara. This is not a nomadic male. I'm trying to see if the other 3 are around. Now, he's part of the 4 that beat up that poor crew cut male lion quite a while ago. And unfortunately, I have not seen that male lion who got beaten up since. But he is part of that coalition of 4 big, beautiful boys. Now, I think we're going to try for the trifecta. We've got cheetah, we've got lion. Now it's time to find a leopard. Now, I do have a report of leopards not too far away, but that was a long time ago. And there might be some gremlins in the area, but I think it's worth the risk. Because I don't think this male lion is going to do anything for the next little while. Oh my goodness. Speaking of glorious males in their prime, just like this lion, I'm going to send you back to Scott Dyson, who's back from leave. Oh.
Hello everyone, my name is Scott and it is absolutely wonderful to be back with the crew here down in Djuma, South Africa. I'm teamed up with VM on camera and I've just enjoyed a 2-week break down in the southern tip of this fine continent, down in Cape Town and the surroundings, and enjoying being back on this beautiful sunny low-veld afternoon. It's probably somewhere into the 90s Fahrenheit. It's quite a hot afternoon, not much of a breeze. And I think a lot of the animals will like us. And shame, I hear he's hoping on finding a leopard this afternoon. He must be missing spending time with a leopard, because this is the place where you want to be looking, down here on Djuma in the Sabi sands. So, who knows, maybe we will get lucky. I know Noel, who is also out this afternoon, is searching for Thandi. She was also elusive this morning, so Noel ended up. And Steve's also out on a bushwalk, so you'll also get to catch up with him a little bit later. Our plan is to head up to the Buffalo's Hook waterhole in the hope that we'll be able to deploy Ronald the Rover, who's duty, and maybe we'll get to park him down by the water edge and see if he can come down and drink next to him. I'm not with him yet. Double sights over the last few weeks. Magic. Well, like I said, Noel is hoping to try and work out where Thandi ended up. Spent a lot of time looking for her this morning, so why don't you go and get an update to see how her search is coming along.
Hello everyone, welcome to a very hot Djuma. I believe it's about 35 degrees Celsius, which is about 95 degrees Fahrenheit. We're baking, we're cooking. So after we left the tracks for Thandi this morning, Herbie came and picked them up, and Herbie gave me a little shout this afternoon and says he's found her. So now I'm trying to find where Herbie found her, and I'm working off of his directions at the moment, and we're thinking that it's not too far from here. So we use certain street signs, let's call them. So there's a leopard orchid that's there in the tree, so that's part of our street signs, is that leopard orchid just to the right there. There we go, perfect. There's our leopard orchid, and we're on the road we were told to be on, and now we have to go northeast from the leopard orchid, but she's on the western side of the road, so it should be around this corner. Now it's quite hot, so I think follow me. I don't think she will have moved too much. I do think she gave Davi and I the runaround. Oh, and by the way, I'm horrible. I am Noel, and on camera I have Davi, so sorry I did not introduce properly. Davi's saying hello, and I'm saying hello again. And I can see where Herbie turned around, and that was part of it. So the western side of the road is over here, and the northeast of the leopard orchid is just over here. So we are going to just scout around in the shady bits. I actually think that I'm going to have to maybe reverse and go back in to where the leopard orchid is exactly, but I just want to check around the corner here. And I think while I'm busy searching, let's go over to Steve. It's so good to have Scotty D back. Oh, and it's good to have David on interview. Good luck, David. Let's go over to my friend Steve and see what he's up to for this afternoon for Bushwalk.
And a warm, sunny welcome to you from Djuma Private Game Reserve in the Sabi Sands. My name is Steve Falconbridge, and I'm joined by Mr. Seb on the camera. Welcome, folks. It is a very nice, warm 35 degrees Celsius, 95 degrees Fahrenheit. Herbie is with us out here, giving us some assistance, and we are walking to keep in the shade. Yes, it is wonderful to have Herbie with us this morning, but it's also wonderful to have Mr. Scotty D back. Scott and I are friends from many years ago, and I think it's probably been 3-4 years since I've seen him, and it's nice to have him back. We've got a lot of catching up to do. And welcome to David and his interview. I hope he does well up there in the Masai Mara, which I believe he already is doing wonderfully. So folks, we have kind of moved northwest from our camp, and we're heading in a direction where Herbie heard some alarm calls this morning. And alarm calls generally mean cats. So we kind of headed in that direction. We're going to try to keep to the drainage lines. There's also a special tree that I'm looking for this afternoon. Quite a magnificent and tall tree that often occurs, or majority of the time, in drainage lines. So hopefully by following them we'll be able to find one of my favorite trees. Even though it's not flowering this time of year, it's still a very important tree, and I'm sure with Herbie's guidance and the use of this wonderful book we will find what I'm looking for. But on that note, while we're walking, there are lots of wonderful wonders, beautiful things, the smells and the sounds of the bush. We are going to be exploring them. We're going to be interacting with them, so please feel free to send your questions through to @SafariLive, the Twitter handle @SafariLive, or on the YouTube stream. We've got a baby warthog just there. They're just here next to the pan. Oh, look at that. Animals on foot straight away. That's fantastic. Little piglets, and Mom, their eyesight is not great, and looks like the female is busy looking at Herbie, who's just up on our left. Oh, it's a pity they moved away. Okay, we're not going to do too much disturbance. We're going to move away from this water pan. It is very important to not influence these animals while they try to drink. That was a fluke, and we're going to move around and let them come back. Don't chase them away. And while we do so, we're going to be going up to the Masai Mara with David on his interview.
Very good. Number one, a very big jumbo to the crew in South Africa. Tell them very, very big thank you from David in Kenya here in Masai Mara. And I really want to thank them a lot. Tell them Happy New Year. And hopefully I'm going to satisfy the bosses and see what happens in the near future. Thank you again and again. Still here enjoying the elephants, and we were just seeing one big female elephant that had a little deformed tusk that one looked like coming out sideways. It's exactly what I was talking earlier about having elves. You can see it there very well. If you look on the right hand, or the right hand tusk is facing outward. And thank God, when ellies are born, they're born without their tusks. Unlike some animals, say like the hyenas, maybe if they're born with their teeth on, it could be quite a challenge to bring down the calf if the tusks were already developed as they grow, as they mature. So occasionally that will be seen, and there's one also I saw the other day that had the tusk crossing over. I'm not sure if in the background you can hear some yasks. Thank you very much, Djuma. July, August, it's my favorite season. We'll always have come to the end of the long rains, and the grass is green, a lot to eat, and above all, it's the time for the migration. It's just a breathtaking time to be here, and should you come, not less than a week. I'm talking of about, if you can, 2 weeks, 10 days, and you can come and you see what Safari Life does, because they will move with the migration with you and you'll just love it. You'll be out the whole day and not wanting to go back to the camp unless for quick shower and back again in the bush. So July, August, to me, anytime, be our guest. Come and visit Kenya. You'll find out for me, Megan, how many whether Djuma has been here or whether she would want to come this year, visit, or next year, do a safari. Asante sana. I haven't seen as many elephants missing their tails. They might have when young, maybe. Unfortunately, predators would want to come and try to bring them down, but not missing per se. But occasionally you see one or two. But we have also noticed when they are playful, you'll get the big ones playing with the young ones and holding them by the tails. Unfortunately, they snap and they lose them, but they got nothing to do with poaching or predators. But when they're so playful, you get, especially the boys, the ones that will be missing the tails will be more males than the females. Thank you, Lisa. Clouds are building up now. I'm not sure, we might have some little showers later, but we can hear some thunderstorm. But so far so good. Chris, thank you. I mean, the weather, I'm not sure, it's global warming, I would say, but this is, sometimes the last few years we've seen the weather in Africa and more so in Kenya becoming very, very erratic. We point a finger to global warming, as the experts will tell us exactly what's happening. But this is very normal in the Mara, especially this month of January as we go to February, looking a little hazy or misty, but it's a very normal time, and for us we see this a lot. It's cooling off now, very, very good temperatures. And if you look at all the ellis there, as my cameraman is pointing, they're not flapping their ears as like an hour, 2 hours ago. An indication that it's very favorable weather for them. Because when it's pretty hot, you'll get their ears being very, very busy. So they slow down now and they concentrate more on feeding before it gets dark. Very good. We still keep hearing the thunderstorms. I'm not sure you can hear them from the camera there, but they will not stop us seeing the elephants. We would stay here as long as we have the good light, and the park rules will allow us to be here. And tell us, Scott, what's happening in South Africa.
Hello everyone, we have just hit the jackpot and we've come across this elephant that's having a swim. It's literally just decided to plonk itself down into the middle of this waterhole, and it was one of the most epic things to be watching. So what a bonus. VM said just before we arrived here that it's usually like the moon, this waterhole, and that there hasn't been many animals here the last few times he's been here, so I'm glad this time around we've got lucky. What a wonderful scene. Now what I am going to do at some point in time is deploy the rover, which is a kind of a vehicle that's got a little camera on it, and try and get it down to the water's edge just so we can show you what it looks like from eye level. Sadly, he's a little bit far away for now, but who knows, maybe he will decide to come out somewhere closer to the water's edge. He's not here alone. There is also another elephant, not quite as big as him, but also a young boy, as well as some hippopotamus who have both just dipped their heads under the water. So quite a few large mammals going about their business here. And I'm just going to shuffle around for a second and deploy old Ronald quickly. So, ooh, give me a second. Okay everyone, we're just going to welcome on some other viewers on some other platforms, so I'm going to keep quiet for a second. Good afternoon everyone who's just joined us. We are coming to you live from the Sabi Sands in South Africa, and it is a blistering hot afternoon. My name is Scott and I'm teamed up with VM on camera, and we've just stumbled upon this awesome scene of an elephant taking a swim. And on hot summer afternoons like this, it's not uncommon for them to do this, but we were very lucky. He literally started to bath about a minute or two ago, so looking forward to seeing if possibly another young elephant who's joining him here at the waterhole might join him a little bit later. Look at him stretching out like that. And if I was an elephant, I would be doing exactly this, because it is the best way to cool down in this harsh African heat. It's probably upwards of 90 degrees Fahrenheit, just to give you an idea of how hot it is, and it's quite a humid area that we're in. So hot and sticky. And luckily for them, they are not really under major threat from any crocodiles. If there were any crocodiles in here, the Ellies are not going to have an issue, whereas we of course would. Sandra, welcome to have, wonderful to have you with us, and you say these are your favorite animals. Well, this is certainly one of my favorite things to watch your favorite animal do, Sandra. And I'm surprised the other one who's here doesn't seem like he wants to join in on the action, so sadly no joy there. He's heading off. But they could well be following another herd of elephants. There was lots of tracks coming on down to this waterhole, and who knows, maybe another herd may pop in at any moment. It's very thick vegetation here. Oh, looks like bath time's over for him. LJ, you say swimming elephants is your favorite thing besides, of course, baby elephants, which means your favorite thing must be baby elephants swimming, which sadly doesn't happen that often that I've seen. They kind of splash around in small mud wallows, but I've never seen baby ellies ever going into kind of deeper stretches of water like this one. This isn't very nice of you. You shouldn't be doing this just because you finished your bath, because nobody else is going to have to come and bath in here. But elephants often do this. They just leave these floating bran muffins behind as they head off on their way. There go the muffins. Quite a healthy sized batch he baked there, and interesting that they managed to bake and deliver those muffins about every 45 minutes to an hour. They eat so much vegetation that they obviously need to expose of a lot of it. Coolio, you're wondering if there are any alligators here. I think I may not have heard the question clearly, but no, we don't have any alligators here in Africa. We just have crocodiles, and it's the Nile crocodile that would inhabit the water in this part of the country and most of Africa. They're very widely spread through the continents. And we have had some sightings. There's the hippopotamus that I was talking about earlier, at least one of them. And a few years ago we used to, well, there was a period where we used to view a crocodile in this waterhole, but he's moved off, and we haven't been certain that one's moved back here. But you do always need to be extremely careful with crocodiles because they can be very sneaky and surprise you at any time. Now, because things have quietened down at the waterhole, we're going to say goodbye to everyone who just joined us for that brief bit of action with Ellie swimming. We hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you stay tuned for any further action a little bit later on. Okay. Oops. I wasn't supposed to speak there, everyone, when I went okay, but I think I will be allowed to speak shortly. Okay, so everybody, welcome back. And I'm just gonna start getting to grips with the rover and work out exactly how to get everything up and running. I managed to deploy him, but not quite too effectively. But we're gonna play around now, get to grips with it. Well, let's just have a quick look at what's landed on top of it. It looks like a robber fly. It is a robber fly. How cool. Now, this little insect is using a Ronald as a platform from which to pounce on any prey. So they are predatory flies, these. They'll fly off and literally tackle their prey in the air using those big legs, which have got lots of little spikes on them to wrap around. Anyway, we're going to keep playing, keep an eye on this insect, and send you off to something very, very exciting with Noelle.
Hello, everyone. Hello. We have found Thandi as well as her tiny little cub. Her tiny little cub is just up the pathway, a little bit to her back and left. I can just see the little ears poking out in the background here. So she's moved from where, just straight in the back there, I can see just there. Perfect. There goes the little cubbo. Yay! Uber cuteness. So she moved quite a distance from where Herbie saw her, but Herbie's location was a good one, and Davi and I weren't too far off from this morning, and actually what helped us find them was Franklin's. Franklin's were alarm calling, and then we had to do a little bit of crazy maneuvering to get here, and they have found this beautiful little shady spot. Now, I believe when we first got in, the cub was busy nursing, and it's just gone off for a little bit now. We're not going to go far from where we are. You can't really fit any more vehicles in here, and also we haven't had a chance to see Thandi and this little one for a very long time. So for any new viewers out there, Thandi is one of our resident female leopards. She and her sister Shadow have sort of split up their mother Karula's territory, and Thandi's taken over quite a bit of this area, and it seems as if Shadow's moved a little bit south. Now Shadow has a youngster that's about a year old, and then Thandi's little one is, we're in January, hey, mid-January, so just 3 months, roughly 3 months. I believe Tristan and James first saw Thandi pregnant, and then with the nursing marks and going into a termite mound the first week, or first 9 days in November. And then we're a little bit past that now to January, so that would be just about 3 months. Now, Megs, I'm so sorry. I heard a question a little bit, but I had turned down the audio, so I don't know if you want to maybe send through that question again. I'm very sorry for not hearing that. So again, for any new viewers that we have, our directors that are in the final control. I see Thandi and her cub, as am I, and as is Davi. Shame this mama is very tired. So she moved quite a bit this morning from where we had her tracks to where we thought she was to where she ended up being to where she is now. She's moved around a couple of kilometers. It doesn't look like she is extremely full, but it doesn't look like she's thin. I think she has eaten recently enough. And if I'm oh, the cub's coming, the cub's coming. If I'm feeling this heat, they definitely are. The cub's coming just from the back. Look, 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 look. How amazing. So I want you to notice something. Notice how relaxed Thandi was with us, and the cub moved away. Then the cub comes back, and she gets a little bit like, ah, my cub. Not that she's not a good mom, but it's, you know, that's a lot of teeth and a lot of claws, and she's hot. So when she's looking at us and doing that little bit of a snarl, it's two reasons. One, she's a little bit annoyed with her cub, and then two is just to remind us that we must stay where we are. Michelle from the United States, you're curious to know, is the cub male or female? So Tristan has called female, and I believe Steve the other day when he spent some time with the cub called female. I haven't seen the cub since the 1st of January, and when I saw it on Christmas Day, I was thinking possibly a male with the size of the paws and a little bit of yellow under the tail there. It's still a little bit young for me. I have a feeling, look, I've worked with Tristan and Steve on and off for many, many years, so I'm now starting to hedge towards their thoughts, but I want to give this cub another couple of weeks, and I also just want to spend some time here today and investigate the back end to hopefully see if we can once and for all put a pin in it. So my answer is not quite sure, not 100% sure yet. I'm sorry. That's just too cute. It's hard in a sighting like this because you want to give facts and talk about what's happening, but for me as well, I mean, look at the uber cuteness. Look at that. Linda, you're saying adorable. So adorable. So adorable. Now, you can actually see the way that Thandi's lying. Notice how under her tail there, you didn't see any big round fuzzies that would be testicles. That's where we're looking for to decide whether male or female. And it takes a couple of months, let's say 2 to 3 months, for those testicles to drop. Justin, you're saying also quite adorable. And look at those eyes, and it's so true. They are absolutely magnificent, and they're starting to come into their color that they will be for the adult period. So when they're little, they're blind, and then the eyes go blue, and then they go from blue, bright blue, to more of a hazel, green, yellowy color. And then each leopard has its own particular shade of eye color. So, for instance, Mvula, one of the large male leopards we were chatting about this morning, he's called Mvula because his eye color is like the rain. It's got a bit more blue. Hasana, who we saw yesterday afternoon, has very yellow eyes. Thandi, to me, has a sort of golden sheen to her eyes. She's half closing them at the moment, but maybe we'll get a view a bit later. She's a tired mama. So she will now... Look, the area that we're in is a really wonderful area. There's a big termite mound with a lot of holes. It's hard to see from the angle that we're at. It's in a nice thick drainage line. There's a lot of places for the cub to hide. Also little trees for the cub to go in. So for me, this would be her sort of third and final den site until she starts moving the cub a little bit more. Now, I believe Scotty D has the rover out and about where he is, and I think he would like to show you how he's playing around with it. So let's head on up to him, and we're going to stick here with Thandi and her youngster, and we'll see you all shortly.
Well, it sounds absolutely incredible with Thandi and her cub. I'm sure you guys are all having a wonderful time over there, as are we here at the waterhole. I'm just getting to grips with this wonderful device called Ronald the Rover that you saw down at the water's edge there briefly, and I'm just learning how basically to turn everything on, get all the transmissions working. There's a screen that I can look at just below me here to see what Ronald's actually filming, and this is the remote control, which seems to be working back to front. If you pull the remote back, it goes forwards, and if you turn it left, it turns right. But I'm getting used to it, and hoping that some elephants or some other animals will come down to the water's edge for a drink. So that's what we are hoping for. And now that you are down at the water's edge, let me take you a little swivel around to show you the view. Try and do it nice and slow, but not too slow. There we go. Nobody coming down to drink, and then there we are. Hello. That's us back there. So, yeah, not too sure whether to keep moving or stay here in the hope that some other animals come down for a drink. It's a tricky one. What I'm thinking is that it might be best to head off and see if we can play with it as we go. I was just discussing with VM how one of these would be quite good fun if we possibly can get permission, and one of them up in the Masai Mara. and we were discussing how it might need to be a little bit different there, and VM suggested that it needs to be able to travel at 100 miles an hour to be able to keep up with Cheetah. So stay tuned to watch what may happen with VM and the design of the next Ronald the racing rover. Like I said, oh, I've got to bring it back here now, so let me bring it back, and while I bring it back, we will send you, no, we're not going to send you anywhere. We're going to take you for a bundu bash through the fresh green grass. Shame there's not much grass around at the moment, and I'm hoping we get some rain soon. It doesn't sound like there's been too much rain since I've been away for 2 weeks, so let's hope that changes, because this area definitely is much drier than it used to be. Come on, Ronald, you're doing a great job. Walt, you'd like to know if they still pump water into any of the water holes here in the Sabi Sands, and yes, they certainly will. Which water holes are being pumped into at the moment, I'm not too certain. So yeah, I'm not too sure which dams are being pumped. I think this one is not. I think this is just all natural water here, but I am not too clued up on what's happening with regards to the pumping of the exact water holes that we see, but it definitely does still happen here in the Sabi Sands, Walt. So let me pick up old Ron now. Come on, he's coming home. Yeah, they're such cool machines, and for those of you who may have joined Safari Live recently, you must know that we haven't really been using all this wonderful machine as much as we could. So I'm looking forward to a lot of time spent with it, because you can just get such wonderful low angles when you use it, and we can't certainly get as close and as low an angle as we can on the vehicles, nor can we get as low and as close to things as one can do on the bushwalk. It sounds like Steve has found something he would like to show you.